In the opening scene, we hear a beautiful Christmas song playing as the narrator talks about Christmas being the best time to find love and get people out of their comfort zone. Nora, a beloved writer turned CEO of a lifestyle brand, Prism, packs some boxes of presents, placing them on the table as she uses a pen to check her list to ensure everything is done. Just then, a text comes in from her sis inviting her to an annual Carol's Cakes Christmas charity event. Her colleague, June, reminds her she's supposed to have the Q4 board meeting and everyone is present except her, who thinks she has plenty of time to spare. She rushes to the office handing the presents to the receptionist, helping her pass them to the people whose names are tagged to the present. She rushes into the office to meet everyone already seated and apologizes for being late. One of the female board members, Christine, reminds her that the board meeting is of great importance, considering the current state of the company due to the major drop in their readership. However, Nora feels it doesn't matter much because Christmas is usually their biggest reading and advertising season. Max adds that it may have been true in the past but not anymore, as they are having a new competition that has taken a bite out of their audience. He further explains to her that they are missing out on a key demographic in the age group their advertisers are interested in reaching. Nora laughs at what he just said as she stands up and walks over to where he is sitting, to remind him that he doesn't have much say on board matters despite his recent move as the chairperson. Max also quickly reminds her that her company was built by the trust fund his dad handed over to him, which he doubled in less than a year. They continue in the clash for superiority. Max informs her they have found a partner with some stellar potential, who is going to help bring their readers into the new target demographic. The new potential partner is a company called Singled Out. However, her company has to write a column on falling in love by Christmas. Also, there's this new dating app that pushes people out of their comfort zone, and it will be used to prove to people that Christmas is the best time of the year to fall in love. Here's the shocking part: the person who would test the theory would be her, Nora Winters, and if she doesn't want to do it, she will be voted out as CEO and someone else who is more willing will take over. She is totally out of words as she reminds him she owns the company even though he's a major shareholder. She suggests they vote as she isn't willing to do a dating app or write a dating column. The board members cast a vote and she ends up being the only one opposing the idea. Max packs up with the others, informing her he will send her everything she will need as they all walk out of the boardroom. Nora is out with Adley in a singing program by the roadside and she laments to her about the whole dating app issue. She has an idea of how to write an article and convince everyone that she falls in love. Adley receives a call and she walks away, leaving Nora lamenting all to herself. Then, she sees a man standing not too far off, so she decides to walk up to him, reminding herself that she will fake it, just to make the board happy and keep her job. She walks up to where he is standing and as she attempts to spill the coffee on his shoe, he walks away just in time without noticing her drama. A stranger applauds her staged performance. He walks away laughing, hoping she succeeds in whatever it is she is trying to do. She feels frustrated as she sighs and walks back to tell her sister to tell her that her attempt is a complete failure. Adley informs her that Lola will come straight to her from college. She hands her the note and they start to sing a carol song. Just like her sister mentioned, Lola comes to visit Nora with lots of presents. She hugs Lola excitedly and is surprised that she is aware of the dating app. This is when Lola shows her phone, revealing that it's all over social media. This makes Nora more surprised, but she shakes it off. Over at the house, while they are having dinner, Lola and Adley encourage her to take the Talk to Heart app seriously, as she might just find love. Not wanting to hear it, she shifts the conversation to their foundation. Adley reveals they are bankrupt, but they know they will always find a way to bounce back, since the bakery is coming along well, and they are hoping they will make money at the fundraiser. Max walks into Nora's office, informing her that they hired a guy who will come photograph the dating app series. She tries to make him understand her writing would speak for itself, so there will be no need for a photographer, but he won't have it, because he needs to make sure she is taking part in the activities. He calls the photographer in, and surprisingly, it's the stranger who caught her staged antics the previous day. Nora denies their meeting and the man named Jack asks her for her name, making Max observe some sort of chemistry between them. Max tells Jack his job is to simply capture Nora's journey to love while showing the magic of the season. Nora suggests they keep her dates anonymous so she can connect. They all prepare to start, but Nora excuses herself to go find her wallet, but ends up calling her sister, informing her of the new development with the photographer. Adley thinks she is simply blowing it out of proportion. After the call, Nora gets up to walk away from where she is hiding. When she turns, she sees Jack, who understands what she is up to, but still asks if she found the wallet. Nora suggests including her family's foundation, which is of benefit to her mother's bakery and charitable foundation in the story plot on her journey to love. Jack finds it to be perfect but unrealistic. However, she is not planning on falling in love, which would be deceptive. They agree to meet up the next morning. As Jack walks along the street, Sarah calls her favorite client, congratulating his win, which would be a big one for the agency. Also, she updates him on the organization who are keeping an eye on him, ever since they saw the post about him working with Nora Winters. If he manages to crush his deal, he might unlock more opportunities. Nora writes down some lines in her column and asks her followers to stay tuned to see if it's all fiction or real. The next morning, Jack comes a bit late, infuriating Nora. He apologizes for making up excuses, and Nora just tries to believe him so he will stop talking while they walk out for the photo shoot. He brings her to a Christmas market so she can mingle with several men, and probably connect with one, but it doesn't seem like she's connecting with any. Jack feels like it's because she is not following the instructions on the app, so he suggests doing something outside of her comfort zone like the app instructs. He brings her to a place for skating. She puts on her skating shoes and tries to mingle with a few men, but they seem to be uninterested in her. She skates away, bumping into a man, who helps her stay steady on her wheel as he skates with her. Meanwhile, Jack is busy taking photographs of her. She confesses to the man, Steve, that she would love to try out skating some other time as she had fun, but he quickly tells her he is seeing someone. He wishes her a Merry Christmas while skating away. Jack believes it could have gone better, but he wasn't into her. He was trying to be nice because she looked desperate. Frustrated, she walks away from him to sit by the Christmas tree in the hall. A stranger comes to sit beside her, introducing himself as Leo. He asks her if she would like to come with him for a drink sometime, and she accepts. She hands him her card to call her. She feels excited it's finally working out, and Jack comes on telling her what just happened is beautiful, but she needs a backup, just in case they don't work out. She excitedly records a report for her readers, updating them that her mission might work out after all. At Jack's place, he receives a call from a lady named Olivia who is worried she is not together with her child, and they speak about the hospital a little before she receives a page from work. In the next scene, Nora, Adley, and Lola are chatting as she needs some dough. Lola informs her about the update she made earlier about meeting someone, but Nora reveals that she is giving the board a good story, so they believe she is falling in love. She receives a call from Max, who assures her that he is on her team, and he understands she built the company from scratch. So, he believes she should be a part of the changes being made, but for the whole thing to work out, he needs to know how she feels, not just what's happening. Adley agrees with him, but she quickly changes the topic to the cookies they need to make for the fundraiser. Later, Nora gets a text from Leo, saying something came up so he has to be away. He apologizes for not making it. She feels like her hope might just have been dashed. She walks around checking out some books. She accidentally drops one off on a passerby and she quickly apologizes to him, but he takes no offense. He introduces himself as Jeffrey, smiling at her. It feels as though some chemistry is cooking up already between them. Minutes later, both of them are sitting on the floor giggling as they chat, making Nora laugh so hard. Jack walks by and sees what's going on, so he quietly takes photographs of them. Jeffrey's phone beeps, so he informs her he has to go, but he would love to take her out sometime. She suggests Gregson's Christmas market as she laughs in excitement before they bid each other goodbye. She calls on Jack, who shows her the snapshots he took of her and Jeffrey, and she calls him sneaky. While walking together, Jack asks about her fundraiser and she talks about how her parents started it years back to raise money and give back to the community. But now, her sister is in charge of it because Prism grew, so she couldn't juggle it all. After this, Jack runs different ideas by her. They finally agree on something and he'll meet her the next morning at the bakery. She also thanks him for bringing her home. In the next scene, Jack is working on the images he has gathered so far, when a boy named Kyle, who is his little nephew, walks to him asking who Nora is. He explains she is a lady he is working with. He points at a photo on the screen. Since his mother is at work and he doesn't want him to miss her too much, he suggests he follows him to the Christmas market to play hooky tomorrow. The boy cheers up and he hugs him before walking back in. Nora records a new update on her getting herself out of her comfort zone for the first time. Afterward, she steps out heading for the Christmas market when she receives another disappointing text from Jeffrey, saying he can't make it to the Christmas market because of an emergency meeting with a client. Adley confesses she told everyone about Jack being in the fundraiser and Prism doing a write-up on the bakery. So if they come to the Christmas charity event, they could probably get a chance to be featured in her column. This sounds nice to Nora, but she thinks she should have informed her first. Just then Jack walks in with Kyle. Nora introduces herself to the little boy and Adley is all excited to get to meet Jack in person. Kyle informs them their apartment is flooded, making Jack explain it was a small leak which turned serious, so they are on the lookout for a reservation in a hotel. Hearing this, Lola suggests that they stay with them instead since they have plenty of rooms as well as a Christmas tree. Jack is skeptical about the offer, but Kyle pleads with him to accept it. Adley also insists and he appreciates her generosity. At the Christmas market, Kyle goes to play in the kids section. This is when she reveals that Leo is no longer an option and Jeffrey, who is supposed to come, asks for a rain check too. Jack is speechless as he didn't see that one coming. Soon, Kyle comes back requesting they go look at the trees. As they go, Nora brings out flashcards that help her stay organized for the column. Jack wonders how a successful woman like her is single and she explains that she was actually married a long time ago. But then her company Prism started gaining some traction and she wanted to grow it, but her husband wants to move to a farm, have a big family and live off the land. So, they had to find their separate paths. He also reveals that he has been engaged twice and both times he put his career ahead of the women and he lost everything, which led to his career change. Kyle shows them a tree requesting they take it home, because he feels like Adley might like it. Jack reveals that Kyle will be staying until the new year. His half-sister Olivia, Kyle's mother, who is an ER doctor in Boston, needs a little help with him this season. This is why he offered to take Kyle for a few weeks. In the next scene, while the family, including Jack and Kyle, are wrapping presents, Adley reveals that Nora started the tradition some time back. While talking, Jack reveals that he used to do corporate finance before changing his career path to photography. Suddenly, Nora gets a text from Max, stating they didn't like the last post because it didn't have enough engagement. He suggests she meet him at the office to suggest a strategy to keep them happy. Later, as Nora heads home, Jack tags along to see her off. He asks for her plan, since all the guys keep bailing and she doesn't have anything to lose if she puts herself out there. But she feels like she would be mocked and never be taken seriously again. Jack offers her his help if she needs him, since he knows how much the whole thing means to her. She thanks him for the kind gesture. Meanwhile, Adley spies on them, smiling from the window. Upon getting home, she updates her readers on Mr. G about how they had a bumpy start, but she will still be spending some time with. She tells herself to remain honest. She feels like the experiment has offered her more apple bites than she has had in a long time, but it is yet to be determined if it will lead to love. The next day, Adley welcomes everyone to the annual Winters Family Snowman Building Contest. Kyle and Lola will go against Nora and Jack while she will be the referee. Whoever builds the best snowman with complete facial features wins. She announces it's time to start and everyone runs around with their teammate trying to build the best snowman. In the end, Adley announces Kyle and Lola as the winners. The others start arguing as they throw snowballs at each other, laughing loudly and having fun. Olivia calls to check on her brother and son. Then Jack shows her Kyle, who is busy having fun. Olivia reveals she wouldn't be able to make it down that same day because they are short-staffed at the hospital, and their schedule is so tight. Based on his experience with Nora's family, he suggests to Olivia that they spend more family time together as a tradition, because he feels like they are seriously lagging. After the call, he joins the others in taking group photographs. Just then, Nora gets a text from Max, requesting she meet him at the boardroom. When she gets there, Max explains that he understands the whole dating app thing is her worst nightmare, but he doesn't think it's enough, since the board is putting measures in place to vote her out as CEO, because the deal is a bit shaky after the low engagement. He is telling her because he doesn't agree with the direction they want to take the company. Given their history of disagreement, she finds it surprising to know that Max actually cares. At the bakery, Sarah calls Jack. He confesses that aside from the photography, every other thing, especially the falling in love part, isn't so real. Also, he doesn't want to give up on the gallery despite his contract with Prism. She encourages him to keep up the good work because soon he will have lots of contracts to choose from. She ends the call and contacts Level 11 to share information about Jack's assignment with Nora over at Prism. Nora asks Max on how to go about the situation with the board, and he suggests they find a way to prove to the board that their motion shouldn't go forward. The good news is that they have Christine, who is on the fence, so they can find a way around it through her column. Nora is worried about the whole thing when she gets a text from Jeffrey apologizing for missing the snow day and offering to take her for dinner. She fixes the time and then calls Jack to meet up at the Christmas market. Later, Nora fills him in on the board's motion and he asks if she has done a SWOT analysis. She reveals that she has done it for her business but not for herself. He takes out a sheet of paper asking her to list her SWOT as a CEO and he puts them down. He notes everything she says and gives her helpful advice to comfort and ease her worries. He encourages her to embrace her challenge and lean into the Christmas spirit, and she might find exactly what she is looking for. Suddenly, she keeps calm and gazes at him quietly. He sees the mistletoe right above their heads and she follows his gaze to see it too. Both of them say it's not like they're going to kiss anyway as they adjust their seats. He suggests that they go grab a bite but she declines, since she has a dinner date with Jeffrey. Jack suggests he should photograph them but she objects. He reminds her it's for the series and he would try not to be noticed. She agrees with him as she gives him the address and time. He stylishly drops something inside her bag without her noticing before she walks away. On her way out, she texts June asking for a favor regarding the Smithton Gallery. At home, she updates her readers about a person in her life she would call Space. She explains that Space has really helped her see things in a different light over this holiday season, and she is going to try leaning into the Christmas season for real this time. She dresses up, getting ready to go on her date. On their way back from the date, she and Jeffrey talk about a radio show contest he won multiple prizes on. She invites him to dinner at her sister's place and he agrees with her, not minding they're just getting to know each other. The next day, Nora and Jack make custom ornaments for all the silent auction winners, according to the rough sketch Adley provided. Jack is surprised they are going about it in detailed manner, even having a sketch of what the ornament should look like. Max calls, and he surprisingly tells her he thinks she and Jack are starting to find their groove. But then the dating app company wants to avoid situations where she falls in love with a guy right under her nose, because it's a little too convenient. So he advises her to stick with Mr. G. She explains she doesn't have feelings for Jack, but he ends the call, not giving her a chance to clarify anything. Adley feels bad that Nora is failing in the promise they made to their mom to run the foundation together, because she feels like she is the only one running it. The sisters get into a little disagreement and Adley ends up walking away. Later in the evening, they are all seated for dinner with Jeffrey, who just keeps going on and on about his clients as he carries a bowl of potatoes, emptying it into his plate. He even spills some on the table. Everyone quietly listens to him talk and wonders how a man can talk as much as he eats. After the dinner, Nora sees him off to the door and he places a kiss on her cheek, promising to see her at the fundraiser. Adley suggests she sleeps over since it's late. Jack excuses the ladies and Adley admits she misses her sister and she understands she has a lot going on. The sisters reconcile their differences and they chat about other things. Adley talks about the two men around her sister, Jeffrey and Jack. Nora reminds her that Jack is just a friend, but her sister mentions that most times, a soulmate is just a friend you just have a deep chemistry with. Sarah calls Jack, informing him Level 11 is sending a job offer after she gave them a sneak peek into his work for Prism. She mentions that they wouldn't publish it as it would just be used to evaluate him, so he should keep an eye on his email. Meanwhile, Nora is having trouble sleeping and decides to just go grab some midnight snacks. She meets Jack sitting there working on some pictures. He shows her what he is working on. They chat for a while before Nora returns to her room. The next morning, Nora runs around giving instructions to Jack on how to package the gift boxes for the fundraiser. She gets a message from Max, informing her the board has set a call for later in the day. She continues the arrangement with Jack as they talk about how frustrating it is to try to force love, which is supposed to be given time to grow. Jack encourages her to be honest in her writing. He urges her to explain to the board that she doesn't feel the love they want her to feel. Later, Sarah calls Jack to inform him that Level 11 just offered him the job position, so he needs to pack up and come attend their holiday company party, where he will be introduced to the team. He explains he still has some unfinished work with the Prism series, adding how his goal is the gallery exhibition, so he won't be coming to the party. Also, he says it's time for him to focus on other things. He thanks her for the opportunity to work with her, but he can't bail on Nora, since the series means so much to her. Unbeknownst to him, Nora is smiling, eavesdropping on his conversation. Later, Nora is with Nola, who surprisingly knows so much about makeup. Nora asks if she wouldn't mind writing for the site on Makeup Product Tips Monthly. Lola is super happy because writing for Prism has always been her goal since she was 8. In the next scene, Jack comes in just in time to save Adley, who is almost getting crushed by the Christmas tree because she tried putting some decorative ornaments on it. She expresses her joy regarding him and Kyle being around for the fundraiser, even though they happen to be there out of the circumstances with their apartment. She also suggests he informs Nora about how he feels towards her, as it might help somehow. Later, Nora appears in a beautiful red suit and skirt as she walks down the hallway. She stops as she hears a notification on a phone and she sees a message saying Level 11 will double the salary after the intel on the fake dates of Christmas. Also, they will be sending a car for their party tonight. This message crushes her spirit and she feels so disappointed. She finds this information hard to believe. The fundraiser starts and guests are arriving already. Jeffrey walks into the venue and Nora welcomes him and shows him around. Jack sees her and figures he could render some assistance for the fundraiser, so he puts a call through to Kathy to confirm if her company is still looking to make some donations before the end of the fiscal year. Later at the party, Jack overhears Jeffrey's conversation over the phone, telling the other person that Nora is writing about him because he is Mr. G. He requests an interview with the Post so he can say all kinds of things which would eventually boost up his business because her name next to his is a big deal. Max calls Nora to inform her the board is pulling out the collaboration with the company because of some recent developments. He sent her an email claiming her series was fabricated. Just then, Jack walks in and she asks him when he intends to tell her about the intel he gave out. She reveals that Jeffrey is using her, but she doesn't believe him, because based on the text she saw on his phone, she feels like he is the one using her. She accuses him of basically ratting her out to a rival site for more money. He explains that it's the doing of his agent, but she doesn't believe him, causing a big misunderstanding. Later, she explains the situation of her company's partnership with Adley. Jeffrey walks to the ladies and Adley excuses them. He asks her to come with him to the photo booth, and she notices he is recording her. He reveals that he just wants some proof which he needs to show that he is Mr. G, because he is getting much more investors simply by mentioning her in the interviews. She is surprised to find out that he is just using her to grow his business, so she tells him they can't work out, walking away from him. Meanwhile, Jack asks Kyle to go pack up his things so they can leave. In the next scene, Nora admits to her sister that she is wrong about Jeffrey. Adley convinces her that the misunderstanding with Jack isn't what she thinks. She explains how he fired his agent because of her, and also advises her sister to sort out things with Jack. Nora picks up her bag and discovers the paper Jack kept in there. She realizes he wrote the SWAT list on it, along with a note for her. After taking some time to think, she gets up and hurriedly searches for Jack. She can't find him, so she calls Max to inform him she wants to go live with one more piece. Olivia meets up with Kyle and Jack on their way out. Kyle is happy to see his mother. Olivia informs Jack of Nora's involvement with the hospital getting enough staff. Since they have enough hands, they didn't need her and that's why she is with them tonight. Then, he sees a new post from Prism. Nora comes clean in her post, stating she happens to fall in love with someone she never expected, thanks to the dating app. Olivia reads along with Jack outside, while Adley and her family read her story together inside the house. Max reads her story and admits that she just saved her job with that new post. Olivia urges Jack to go find Nora. He gets a notification and reads it, realizing Nora did a referral for him on the Smithton White Gallery, the one he has been so interested in. As he continues reading, Nora walks up to him, asking if he read her post. He tells her it was impressive. She asks if it's impressive enough to forgive her, so he grabs her, kissing her lips. Suddenly, they realize that they just kissed under a mistletoe, which means they fell in love just in time for Christmas.